Welcome back to the Coaches Show. I'm Brian Stanley. With me, as always, your coach of the Mission Prep Royals. I had a shadow come over my room, and it kind of threw me off for a second, Coach. But we are part of this is the Coaches Show. Let's keep it rolling. You will hear airplanes flying over my house. I live near the Santa Maria Airport, and there is a major fire to the south of us. I am safe. It is 30 plus miles away, so I am absolutely safe. But the air tankers that fight fires are centered out of Santa Maria, so the flight path going south is right over my house. So if you hear that, pay no alarm to that. We are safe. But let's get back to the Coaches Show. Hey, Coach, another great week for you. Pulled off another win in the Ocean League. Currently 2-0, 6-0 for the year, dating back to the last game of last season, which was a league matchup against the Morro Bay Pirates. You are 7-0 on a streak right now, and it brings the Pirates up this week. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about that game last week at Santa Maria. Back-to-back seasons at Santa Maria. Your first win at Ralph Baldivia Stadium at Dave Boy Field, and your first win over first-year head coach Coach Gonzalez. Coach Ramirez, right?
Mendez.
My notes aren't in front of me. I've switched to next week on my notes. I do apologize, Coach Mendez. He put up a good fight with his team as a first-year coach. Lot of great effort from the Saints, my alma mater, but you put up the W on them, Coach. Talk about that win and what it did for your team.
Extremely happy with how our front seven on both sides of the ball handled the game. You know, really felt going into this game, Santa Maria has always played us extremely tough. And we were really anticipating an extremely tough physical game up front, and not to take anything away from Santa Maria, because they were extremely tough and they threw some of our kids around a little bit, but we kind of controlled things a lot faster and a lot quicker than I thought we would. And we were able to expose a couple things up front, opened up some opportunities for George Kardashian in particular to get on the edge. And we were able to kind of move the ball around up front in the run game in a way that we felt was maybe the best we've done all year. And then defensively as well, they had the first drive that they moved a little bit, and then our DNs and our D tackles did a great job of kind of securing the run game. Our linebackers did a great job flowing to the ball. And we were able to take away a lot of the things that they wanted to do. So I was extremely happy with how the first half went. Felt like we finished the first half in complete control of the game. And then as a coaching staff, we'd made a decision to put in a lot of kids who have not had the same opportunities to compete. And we really wanted to give – the game was, we had control of the game, but we really wanted to kind of test some other kids and give them an opportunity to play, but then also in the middle of a game where – the outcome of the game was still somewhat to be determined. And so, high levels of execution were needed, and kids really needed to be on point. And it kind of revealed some weaknesses that we have, and especially with some of our second level guys who just haven't gotten those reps actually in games. And so you found some kids who just didn't know some of the plays that they thought they knew, and so it was just kind of a little bit chaotic, purposely chaotic in the second half a little bit, while we were trying to get some other kids exposed a little bit. And I will say the positive coming out of that is that this has been one of the best weeks of practice we've had all year. And I think because everyone finally is at a point where everyone's been in the games, everyone knows exactly where they stand, they can all see it on film, and just an opportunity for everybody to grow. So by the end of the game, it kind of felt a little weird, but it was purposeful. And we really wanted, again, we feel very strongly. We coached 31 kids on this varsity team, not 11. And we want to develop all 31. And we need all 31 ready to go by the time we get to playoffs. And so, it was unconventional. It was a little bit out there. It created some chaos. And I know not everybody was a fan of it. But I really think in the end it was a very big positive for us and for our team, and allowed us the opportunity to grow versus being in a situation where, maybe the game gets out of hand, and then how much is anyone really getting better? And so we just, everything for us, we wanted to make sure we left Friday night feeling like we got better as a team. And it felt weird, but certainly watching the film over the weekend and then looking at the team and the way we practiced on Monday and Tuesday, it became evident we absolutely got better on Friday night. So I'm actually quite happy with how the whole thing worked out.
And you mentioned George Kardashian early on. He had 2 carries in that game, and both carries were huge impacts on the game.
Yeah.
The first one was a 45-yard touchdown run, and the second one was a 27-yard touchdown run. His only 2 touches that night resulted in 2 touchdowns for the Royals, the first 2 scores of the night. We awarded him the Mama Leah's Pizzeria Player of the Game, Coach, and his efforts doubled up because we worked together to get the graphics out for your players of the game, and he was the Royal Player of the Game this week for you guys. And it's great when our broadcast and the coaching staff are unanimous on who the top player was. We always love when we can agree on that separately, but it is unanimous. And his performance, he has this burst of speed once he gets to the outside that is unique to. It reminds me almost of a Kowal. Once he gets loose, he's almost untouchable.
Oh, actually, the one he reminds me of is his cousin Dalton Strauss, because Kowal gets a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. But Kowal's a tank, man, and Jack Susank and Kowal seem very similar in terms of the way they operate and the way they run. Dalton Strauss had a phenomenal burst where he could get on the edge and he could outrun people, and nobody really associated him with that because he looks like a bowling ball. But he's just got an extremely special burst. And George has the same burst, and he doesn't look like a bowling ball. So I think he's a little bit faster than Dalton, not by much. And those 2 can really, really do some damage on the perimeter. And so, and George did a great job on offense. We actually gave it to him more for the stuff he did on defense. And when he was in on offense, he was extremely dynamic. But he made phenomenal plays and had some great hits in the secondary, and really shored up some things for us there. And so we kind of looking at all the film, it was like George really stood out on both sides of the ball, so it was pretty easy to make him player of the game.
So we move on to we got a double announcement here, breaking news on both fronts here, on multiple fronts for Prep Sports Network and the Mission Prep Royals. And Coach, you already know about part of this, so this is great. We'll start off with the part you know, and then we'll say the part you don't know for a minute here. We have a double feature this week for the Mission Prep Royals. Being that it's homecoming, we are streaming the junior varsity game, just the stream. There will be no audio associated with it. We'll have ambient noise. We'll have the crowd noise, shall we say, with the game, but no play-by-play or commentary. Just the stream to go along with the varsity game, which will be presented by Stephen Hodges and myself. That is the first of the breaking news, is the double feature. First time Prep Sports Network has presented a double feature on YouTube and at prepsportsnetworks.com. And Coach, the second one is yesterday I talked to the head coach of the basketball program, Terrence Harris, and we inked the deal to be the official presenting partner for video for the Mission Prep Christmas Classic. We will be presenting all the games with a stream this season, and with a select number of them receiving the special treatment of broadcasters, because that is a lot of games in that tournament. But we are going to have at least every game streamed for the fans across the country, because we got teams coming from out of state, and at least 4 games a day will feature broadcasters. So those are our breaking news this week, that Mission Prep is getting a little boost in their coverage, and we love it. I love it because I just get more time on the air most of the time. And Coach, I'm excited to continue to work with Mission Prep through the winter season. Tell us a little bit about homecoming. Friday night, we have the double feature. We have the JV game against Morro Bay, the varsity game against Morro Bay. We will talk about the game in a minute. But what are some of the festivities going on that alumni, students, or even fans of the Royals can get involved with this week, or towards the end of this week, as this is Wednesday on the recording of the show?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just, extremely excited about you guys partnering with the Christmas Classic and with the basketball program. When we started this connection between Prep Sportsnet and Mission Prep, it's always easy to kind of set up with football because football really, kind of dictates a lot of things. And the hope remains, as we continue to build this thing, that all the other programs at Mission Prep have an opportunity to kind of be used on this platform. And we got a lot of tremendous athletic programs that we have. Softball just won their first CIF championship last year. Baseball's up and coming, and they're starting to rock and roll. Basketball's been a powerhouse for many years. Girls basketball is probably the fastest up and coming program in the Central Coast for all schools. I don't think people understand how good that basketball program is going to be this year. Girls volleyball is rapidly getting better. So this is just kind of a bigger idea of, hey, we've got something special at Mission Prep, and we're excited to show it off, and we want people to see what we're doing. And it's also just for our community, man. We want people to be able to sit there, hey, I can't come to the game, but you know what? I can stay home and watch boys basketball play in the Christmas Classic. It's awesome. And very excited about that. This week we have homecoming. We have an alumni event happening right after school in the courtyard. All alumni from Mission Prep are welcome. We'd love to have everybody there. And Darnell Harris and Ryan Weisenberg are putting this whole thing together, and it'll be a first-class event. And we want to be able to, and we also understand people show up and want to watch the JV game too. And so while this is happening, we really want to be able to have everybody hanging out in the courtyard, really reconnecting and having a special moment all together, the way homecoming is supposed to be, while at the same time putting the JV game up and everyone can sit there and watch and have a great time together. And so maybe you can't watch it on the field, but you can, be, 100 yards away inside the courtyard and watch the game at the same time and really enjoy everyone's presence and spend a great afternoon together. And then by the time that game's over, everyone kind of walks over and watches the varsity game, and hopefully it's a great event, and we can have a wonderful Friday evening. So that's the big idea, and your guys' partnership in making this happen is I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate you guys working on that and making it happen for us. So
I'm always excited. It just means I get to set the equipment up earlier, which means we are set up way before the pregame show, which is always my frantic fright, shall we say, is that something's going to go haywire right before the pregame show, and we're not going to be able to go live immediately. So this week we'll have all the bugs worked out way in advance, especially with it being homecoming. We do want to let you know we do have a presenting sponsor of the Coaches Show, Central City Motorsports. Check them out, centralcitymotorsports.com. They ramp up fun for heavy duty excitement. They specialize in toys, recreational toys, toy haulers, RVs, things like that, of ramping them up, giving them better suspension. They work with air ride suspension, things like that. Go ahead and check them out, centralcitymotorsports.com, or if you're in Santa Maria, 2345 A Street here in Santa Maria. Coach, this week's matchup has the potential to be another barn burner, as last year's matchup was in Morro Bay in the season finale, which kicked off your going back to last season, kicked off your 7-game winning streak. If you want to look back that far, most high school coaches don't like to look back to previous years. So we'll go with a 6-game winning streak this year, and you're facing the ever tough Morro Bay Pirates, coached by Jake Goosen Brown in his 3rd season. Coach, this is a team that has taken its lumps, but also given its lumps. It has a 31-28 overtime win over the Templeton Eagles before falling to the San Luis Obispo Tigers 21-7. What can we expect from the Pirates, and what's it going to take for the Royals to continue their win streak as you chase that Ocean League crown?
Well, I'll say Morro Bay is very dynamic on offense. They can do a lot of different things and move the ball pretty well. Probably one of the more dynamic offenses we have in the Ocean League. And, their quarterback, we saw him in the spring and felt pretty much walking off that field after that game that he was going to be a problem the next year. And that's been the case for sure. He's very good. He throws the ball very well. He definitely knows what he's looking at and knows where to distribute the ball. The running game is impressive. They do a good job with the running backs. And they like moving the ball. They attack every part of the field. And they're constantly looking for mismatches and trying to find ways to expose it. So, they do a good job. Defensively, they've always been very tough. They get after it. They all rally to the football really well. We're excited this week. We feel like there's some things that we can really take advantage of and expose. It's kind of weird with Morro Bay. Some years, they play us incredibly tough, and it's extremely difficult to get anything going. And then other years, we've been able to really kind of be wide open with them and make things happen on our end. So, it's a little bit of a rivalry game. Both schools don't necessarily like each other. We don't really like them. They don't really like us. We certainly respect them. And I think that homecoming environment is going to make for a really, really fun type of Friday night atmosphere. So I'm excited to get after it and see how this thing looks. But they're definitely good. They're much improved over the last couple of years, and probably one of the tougher games we're going to have in the Ocean League by far.
You talk about close games and then games where you're a little free in what you get to do. Looking back in your tenure here with Mission Prep, going back to 2018, you played up an 8-man team to 11-man football, and your first game was against Morro Bay. Different coach. So that was a 21-14 win for Mission Prep. Close game, 1 touchdown. And then 1 year later, it was a 42-7 win for Mission Prep, quite the opposite effect. And then in the spring of last year, spring of this year, 2021, it was a 22-17 game, which really came down almost to the fourth quarter with both teams battling it out, trying to maintain that lead until the end. So it's a back and forth. And so I'm curious to see what we get from Morro Bay. They haven't had any real blowouts this season. The biggest loss they had is probably to the Tigers in 14 points. But you also have a common opponent that you've played, and that is the Carpinteria Warriors. They beat them 38-0. You beat them 51-0. So this should pair to be a great matchup. And your road to the crown, as you chase that crown, is only going to get tougher from here. You have the Morro Bay Pirates, the Templeton Eagles, and then you close things out with the San Luis Obispo Tigers. And the Tigers are currently 2-0 in league as well heading into this week. So that last game of the year could be for huge stakes to wrap up everything. And we're never supposed to look ahead in football to your next opponent or your next opponent, but I'm really looking forward to that last game, and my fingers crossed that everything plays out the way it's supposed to, because I want that Slowtown Showdown to be a true showdown between two elite teams on the Central Coast.
Yeah, it'd be great if that happens. Morro Bay presents enough problems for us that we're very much focused on this week and being able to have success on it with them. And I would also just tell you, man, Templeton, don't count out Don Crow and that coaching staff. They're well coached, man. Those kids are really tough. And, there's still a few more steps we got to go to before we get to slow. And I get it. Everyone's excited about it. Everyone's been chirping about it all year. on both sides. You know, everybody from Slow's chirping about it, and our kids are right back, and it's natural to get excited about that game. But you know, I'm very proud of the fact that everyone in our locker room and our coaching staff is very much focused on the task at hand this week, and that is that, you know, we got to go to war, and we're going to compete against a good team, and we want to be dominant in this game. So can't wait to get after it.
The Morro Bay Pirates come into the Friday's matchup 3-4 on the year, 1-1 in the Ocean League on a 1-game skid following their 21-7 loss to the San Luis Obispo Tigers. Your Mission Prep Royals come into Friday night game 6-0, 2-0 in the Ocean League, following a big win over the Santa Maria Saints 28-7. The matchup Friday night is at 7 p.m. on prepsportsnetworks.com. Before that, we got the part of that double feature we talked about, 4 p.m., the JV game with a stream for fans and anybody who really wants to enjoy that game, especially the alumni at the alumni event. And then the prime time main event, Mission Prep Royals host the Morro Bay Pirates, 7 p.m. Friday night, October 14th. But that part of that's covered up. There we go. October 15th. There we go. It was covering up my date there. Can't be perfect all the time, Coach, but we try. Coach, any final words before we depart for the Coach's Show?
No, excited to compete, you know, and it's going to be a good game.
It is going to be a good game. I am looking forward to it. Excited to have the double feature this week. For more information, follow Prep Sports Network on Twitter, the Prep SN. You can follow myself, Brian Stanley, Stanley on Sports, right there. There it is. My finger get cut off. There we go. Boom. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Central City Motorsports, for all your fun in the heavy duty department. That'll be it for us today. We'll be back next week with the Coach's Show. Have a great time and enjoy homecoming.